Hi, this is Laura Lee Griffin.
And this is Nikki May with the Startist Society, inspiring you to stop getting in your own way and start building an art biz and life that you love.
We are artists who believe strongly in the power of community, accountability, following your intuition, taking small, actionable steps, and breaking down the barriers of fear and procrastination that keep you stuck.
Follow along with us on our creative business journey as we encourage you on yours.
In our last episode, we introduced you to Elli Milan, an artist, author, educator, speaker, and founding owner of Milan Art Institute and Art Social. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that episode yet, definitely go back and check it out. Today, Elli is back to share her 10 best tips on getting past perfectionism as an artist and entrepreneur.
Elli, welcome back to Startist Society. We're super glad to have you back.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Let's get right into your tips.
Okay, so I think a lot of artists struggle with perfectionism, and what seems to be at the root of all of it is expectations, whether it's expectations that we have for ourselves or it's expectations that we perceive is out there in the audience, right? And the people that we feel like we're performing for, measuring up to. And I think those expectations and sort of the dialogue that goes on in our head and the way we sort of perceive the near future and what could happen or what will happen is all keeping artists who struggle with this stuck. And it's agonizing. It's not fun. And I don't feel like I struggle with perfectionism too much anymore. But there was a time where I definitely did. And I've found that if it starts to rear its head again, these tips can help. And in all the students I've helped and mentored, I found that these tips I'm going to share can really, really help.
So you're saying we actually can get past it?
Yeah. And a great thing to encourage you too is that once you overcome it's really something that you kind of overcome one time, and it doesn't have a grip like it used to.
Excellent.
Yeah, you might feel like a slight pull or draw in that direction, and maybe if you feed it, it'll get back there. But I think that once you really overcome
number one,
and you're on the other side of it, cure all for almost anything an artist goes through. This will cure anything. Is just
bourbon.
Paint more.
Oh, paint more.
Yeah. Bourbon.
Sorry,
oh, right.
I have to talk about bourbon in every episode.
Oh, you'd like my husband. He's a whiskey guy. He loves all the different flavors and he's all into it.
Nice. But the true answer is
it's just paint more. But that's way easier said than done, because that's the problem, right? You're like, well, okay, I would like to paint more, but I'm stuck. So, so the key is just to get painting. It doesn't matter what you make. Doesn't matter if it ever amounts to anything. It's just, you got to paint. So
maybe intentionally painting a bad painting.
Yeah. That's my first tip.
Oh,
yeah. So not just one bad painting, intentionally paint several bad paintings. Just make a bunch of bad paintings. You could just get sheets of paper and just paint a bunch of gobbledygook on 10 sheets of paper and then pin them up all around you. And so you're all around you is bad paintings. So that's your new measurement. And so when you measure up, all you have to do is beat those paintings, which is easy. So
you might even be surprised and find something in those bad paintings that's not actually bad.
Right. Because you were loosened up and you you had fun. Yeah.
Right.
So just goof around on 10 paintings.
I'm going to do that.
And just put them up so you can see them. And especially if they make you blush and you're like, oh, that's so bad.
Cringe.
Yeah. Cringe. Yeah. Okay. This is one that I've done and I still try to do when I feel my pride, elevated, is show your work in progress to the people you're performing for. So yeah, it's hard, but if you just show it in progress, even on social media, put up a work in progress, or show your process, how you got to where you got to. those ugly stages, show your ugly stages. That can help. I think that journaling your inner conversation is good as long as you flip the script. So if you write down what you're hearing yourself tell yourself, like, oh, this sucks. Nobody's going to like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is terrible. I don't think I can pull this off. You know what? I'm actually not that great of an artist. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'll ever be able to write all that inner dialogue, all that junk, all those lies. If you kind of write them down, the highlights, of those lies, and then flip the script. So if you're like, if you're telling yourself, I'm such a perfectionist, then it's easy for me to let things go.
Right.
Or if you're telling yourself, I
have no good ideas.
I have no good ideas. I'm not original, then you write, my artwork is super unique and singular and nobody else paints like me. And so you just have to get used to being able to hear those things and hear yourself say those things. And the reason you want to write it down is when you're at your easel and those lies start to bark at you, you have a script ready. Because when you're in that feeling, it's hard to come up with it on your own, so it's prepared. So you can just open your journal and be like, oh, okay. And then you just flip the script.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
And so give yourself permission to learn and be bad before you're good. Just constantly tell yourself, I'm learning, I'm growing. This is how I grow. And what helped me is I would think about skiing, because if anybody's ever skied or done any sport, I suppose it's like the more you fall down and eat snow, you're learning. If you go a whole day skiing and you've never fallen down once, well, you didn't learn anything. You didn't grow. You didn't become too much better. So you really have to be bad. And I tell people all the time, the only difference between me and you is I've made way more bad paintings than you, way more.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I sold 10,000 paintings, but do you know how many bad paintings didn't sell? And I burned, I've probably burned more than 10,000 paintings, So, so I've made a lot of bad paintings to get there. Time yourself. This is for the types of perfectionists that overwork things. So Laura, this might help you.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Is, if you set a timer, you just get an egg timer or you on your phone, just set a timer and only allow yourself to paint for a designated time. And what I've told myself, if I'm starting to overwork something, is I'm like, I look at a painting and I'm like, okay, logically speaking, I should have this done in 2 hours. This should be finished in 2 hours. And I'll look at my clock. Maybe I give myself 2 hours and 15 minutes and I might set a timer for 1 hour. So I got to be halfway through it, set another timer. So I just time myself and I'm like, this is going to be done in 2 hours. So I can't just 8 hours later have this like overworked, perfect painting. That's, every edge is too hard and all that stuff that happens. So, so timing yourself, I think is real key. And I think baby steps, achieve small goals, that'll incrementally build to more. So you don't have to like overcome all your problems in 1 week. You can just baby steps, and celebrate those wins and celebrate, man, I was really productive this week and I made 2 bad paintings. That's awesome.
I don't know if you're aware of Sark, the author Sark, but she has a book where she talks about micro movements. And it's like the tiniest little micro movements. If I'm going to be a creative writer today, I'm going to set out my, if I want to actually write, I'll put the journal out and the pencil next to it, and then tomorrow I'm going to do the next step so that you're not overwhelmed.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a hard time getting started, just say, all right, I'm drinking my coffee at 9 and I got to be somewhere at 11. From 9:30 to 10:30, I'm going to paint something.
Yep.
Just something, that's just, an achievement.
Right.
So, okay. So know that it's possible. Oh, it's not possible. Sorry. It's not possible to stay bad at something long-term. It is just literally not possible. I mean, have you ever met a person or have you ever experienced it in your life where you're just like, I've always been really terrible at, whatever.
Well,
I don't know.
Elli, I'm a really bad cook and I've always been a bad cook. So
yeah, but you don't put effort into it. You're not trying to grow.
You're not doing it every day.
True. True.
From 9:30 to 10:30.
Yes, true. Okay.
Yeah.
You're just still in the make bad paintings phase of cooking.
Right. And that's a super important key to think about. If you paint, 1 week you do a lot of painting and then you have kind of a bad experience or whatever, or somebody says, what did you paint? What is that? And then you don't paint for 3 months and then you try it again and then you don't paint for 6 months and then you're just on and off and you're inconsistent. You're going to stay bad because you didn't do something long-term.
Yeah.
But if you paint solidly, consistently, I tell people, if you're serious about being a professional artist, if you are serious about being a good artist, it's non-negotiable. You have to paint at least 20 hours a week, every single week.
Yep.
Otherwise you're just playing around. So, and 40 is better. 40, you will get there quick. Within 3 months, you'll be over all your hurdles. If you can paint 40 hours a week for 3 months straight, you're through it. You'll never deal with perfectionism again. So consistency is you can't stay bad if you're consistent.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
So writing out positive affirmations and saying them out loud. A power statement's great. You say it in first person, present tense, and I'm a fantastic painter. And you don't want to say things like, I never get stuck. I don't struggle with, right? That's not a positive affirmation. You just say, I finish paintings in record time. My paintings are sold before I ever even finish them. People all over the world love my art. It touches them on a profound, deep level. Every brushstroke I execute is emotional, or is expressive, or is fantastic, or renders the form, or whatever you want to say. So just positive affirmations and say them out loud. Because what it does is it conditions your old mind or your primal mind or your subconscious mind into believing, because it's like a child. It doesn't know lies from truth. It just believes it, anything you tell it. So if you tell your subconscious mind, I'm fat and ugly, it believes it. But if you tell your subconscious mind, I'm gorgeous and tall, even though you're short, it will believe it, So
and you'll stand taller.
Yeah. So anyway, basically the whole point of positive affirmations is you're speaking to your subconscious mind, because it's your subconscious mind that's directing a whole lot of stuff without you realizing it. Right. And because we tell ourselves all kinds of bad things. I think listening to podcasts that inspire you, like your podcast. So that's a real key. And just feed your positive mindset and starve negativity. Just refuse to be negative. That negativity and that internal dialogue that's negative is just fodder for perfectionism. And you just want to avoid that at all costs and really feed positive and starve negative.
Yeah. And to me, that last one is all also about curiosity. Is like, if I'm approaching something, instead of maybe having a negative, it's spinning it over to say, well, what would happen if, as I'm working or I'm painting.
Yeah, versus I got to get this right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Well, Elli, thanks so much for sharing those fabulous 10 tips with us. And we're so happy to have had you back on the show.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed being here, and you ladies are great. And I really appreciate you.
Well, thanks. We're thrilled. We loved your stories. And I personally can't wait to dive into more everything Milan art.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, all the great content. You mentioned the YouTube. I know the mastery program. There's an art club. There's an art residency program. Anyone who hasn't listened to that last episode, you can go back and learn a lot more about those things.
And again, we'll have all the links in the show notes. And with this episode, to download a PDF with Elli's 10 tips and tricks for combating perfectionism, visit startistsociety.com/perfectionism tips.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.